Good evening, everybody. This is Jagjot from Mindfulness Quest, and we are continuing with the teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj, the great Advaita sage. So the questioner asks, why do you deny being to the world? And to that Maharaj says, I do not negate the world, I see it as appearing in consciousness, which is the totality of the known in the immensity of the unknown. What begins and ends is mere appearance. The world can be said to appear, but not to be. The appearance may last very long on some scale of time and be very short on another, but ultimately it comes to the same. Whatever is time bound is momentary and has no reality. So, what he means by that is that the world that we construct, that we think of, is a momentary world because thoughts themselves are transitory. Sometimes we are, sometimes, positive, pleasant thoughts come up, and sometimes disturbing thoughts come up in the mind. So, whatever our mind constructs, whatever thoughts our mind builds up is basically fleeting. So when you are in the waking state, going about your usual routine, you will have different thoughts. In dreams, you may be transported to another world altogether. And in deep sleep, there is actually no world. So what is the real world? Is the dream world real, or is the waking world real? So that is what Maharaj is pointing to here. Then the questioner says, surely you can see the actual world as it surrounds you. You seem to behave quite normally. And to that Maharaj replies, that is how it appears to you. What in your case occupies the entire field of consciousness is a mere speck in mine. The world lasts, but for a moment. It is your memory that makes you think that the world continues. Myself, I don't live in memory. I see the world as it is, a momentary experience in consciousness. Now, you see, in this, again, he's emphasizing on the same point that, our experience happens in such a way that we think that there is continuity to the world, but it's actually all based on memory. When you start your day in the morning, you have your breakfast, okay, then you go about your work. So you say you encounter traffic, when you're going for work, then you reach there, and then you have some positive and some negative experiences in the office, in your workplace. Some assignments are not being completed, and this and that. And then you come home, and again, then maybe you see your kids, your family, again some positive experiences, and say maybe you have some altercation with the neighbor, again some negative experience. So you see all of this is completely based on memory. And for a sage that is perfectly rooted in the present moment, these are not the reality. It is just a speck for him. He knows that things are happening, they have happened, but he's not involved in any of those things. So for him, life is not a continuous experience. Life is just a moment by moment passing of events and thoughts. And that is what he's trying to say in this paragraphs. So the questioner says, in your consciousness, he asks. What he is trying to imply is that he's asking Maharaj, is the consciousness you're talking about is personal to you? So is it that my consciousness is different than yours? And to that Maharaj says, all idea of me and mine, even of I am, is in the consciousness. And then questioner again asks, is then your absolute being unconsciousness? And to that Maharaj again says, the idea of unconsciousness exists in consciousness only. And finally, the last question I'll take here is that then how do you know you are in the supreme state? And Maharaj says, because I am in it. It is the only natural state. So you see, if you start imagining an absolute state, then of course it is the mind which is, bringing up a thought. It is a thought in the mind. So absolute is not the thought in the mind. The consciousness is the I am, which shines in everybody. But when you say I am so and so, I do this, I do that, that is mind. That is not the consciousness which Maharaj is talking about. So any attempt to realize the supreme being or supreme consciousness is not the pure consciousness. It is the idea of the mind. It is a reflection in the mind. And that is what he's talking about. So I guess that's it. We conclude for today and we'll continue next time. Thank you. Take care.